Yeah, you're live. Now, so I'm actually early. So right now I'll just put some background music on.
Yeah, just eat your.
Yeah.
I am just.
Well, that's really nice and bright too. I went and bought a 1080p
What's that?
webcam, high resolution.
A webcam.
Yeah, my webcam. I went with a webcam instead of a camera, specifically just because I don't I can do some recordings with my phone and then upload them later if they're going to be actual tutorials that take longer, and then I can cut them up. But the live ones, I'm going to try and. I bought a big bag full of them. We were selling them at Michael's for $10 for 5, and I thought, man, I probably can get them for lesser if I look around. And I went and I found, but I mean, you have to buy them by that crazy amount. And I think they were a bag of 300 of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to buy some.
So, yep. And I think they worked out to be like 25 cents each.
Perfect.
Or, no, how did I work it out?
Because I need like 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
let me see.
How much do you need?
Actually, it might have been a little bit more, but that's okay. Well, I bought it because, I was doing the alcohol inks and the dyes, especially with my paint classes. No, that's not right.
Alrighty, let's see what I've got in my bag of tricks here. You asked me about what paints I have. I don't know what I have. I just use them.
No, it wasn't $75. So
I found what I think is a white that I can use.
Anyway, I'll have to look up what I paid for them, but I think I worked it out to like 15 cents each going with the 3. I think they were 300 in a bag.
Well, you should make money when you get stuff like that and you're teaching classes. You should ask for $1 a piece.
Well, now, I buy my wool at I don't get my wool at retail. I have to buy, or wholesale. I have to buy at retail.
Yeah.
So I'd shop around to try and get it as the least amount possible. Yeah, and I try to get it for around $3.50 or $3. And if I get it for $3, then I sell it for $3.50 an ounce.
Yeah.
Which is only 50 cents an ounce.
Yeah, well,
I mean, and that covers, my overhead here and the shipping and whatever. So I'm really not making anything off of it.
Very grateful that they don't have to look around for it.
Well, they should be grateful.
And they are. And so I'm just saying, you can ask more things.
Yeah, I know.
I know that you're very generous.
I keep getting that from everybody. You got to ask more.
Well, you're very generous.
I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't think I will need my keyboard. If I do, I can just get up and type. And then that, I'll put my hand in the paint palette. And that way I can spread out my water containers.
These are so dried out because I haven't
See, yes, you needed to prep, my love. That's what I told you. So, you know what, though, too? What do you need? What are you slow on? Because I got some liquids here all ready to go. I've got the hydrous here. Okay.
Getting them all.
All right, then get your pipette, get them nice and runny.
I'll do the one with you, and then I'll start working on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I do that, it'll be part of the children's.
Mm-hmm. Just put somewhere on the back, like you put your name on it for the painting. Absolutely. But just say designed by.
Sure.
And then that's just giving me credit for the actual drawing. Yeah, like I'm really, I think it's great to, paint these as gifts and things like that. I don't worry about it, but people can't sell them because it's my design.
That's right.
What is this? What does this mean? These are cool little things. Broken page trackers. Oh, that's just has to do with, excuse me. I don't need to say anything. Hi, Sherry, if you're here, I'll say that.
Is it open now for her to log in?
I gave her the link.
Titanium.
No, it's only
Wave.
6:22.
Here's titanium. Wave. This is what I want.
Yeah, that'll be good
This
because,
is good.
or like I said, when you dry, you can use the gel pen because the gel pen works really well.
I don't have a gel pen, but I know I can use yours, but I don't have a gel pen.
Yeah, they are so good to have. I love them.
Now the green, I don't really have much of, so I'll just mix my own greens, and that's cool. I got a little bit in here.
Mm.
I'll light up. So.
My ginger finish. I'm just gonna look. I took one of my chairs out, put it in the foyer too.
Oh, good.
And just left the black ones here because I thought it was a bit. It felt a bit crowded. I don't. I'll leave that open.
Your phone binged. So
Oh, that might be Sherry.
I was thinking.
I should probably put it on vibrate anyway. Oh, 3 missed calls.
I have a missed call here too.
Oh no. Oh, Brad and Rosa. I already got them. I got them this morning. They called back again, so they happy birthday to you, Aunt Pat. Happy belated birthday to you. They were so cute, and they were started going, well, we're so sorry that we missed it, and we were out with the car and with the kids, and I went, hey, it's all good. I've been there, done that. It's life, right? My,
Yeah, it is.
but the thing is, you know what? Just say sorry. I missed your birthday. You don't have to give me the song and dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't need that. It's fine. I'm just really happy that you called. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That they were
I don't need. Yeah, don't make excuses. People don't. They're always wanting to make an excuse, and I find I do that too. I'm so sorry, but I was. You know what I mean? What is it about those butts anyway? What? Okay, so where I'm, if you've got a flat, I decided that I think a flat might be
Did
good.
Sherry get on?
No, she's not on yet, but I'm just talking to you right now.
Okay.
It is 6:28 right now, so maybe I'll
Just
go.
starting. I'm just telling Ava. I'm just starting class, which is going to be running for now.
Yeah, approximately. You know, the rabbit right now in the
Yeah.
foreground on the earth, and so they're gonna pretty much everything's going to be warm colors, except
Okay.
for the beginning color. We're gonna use the cool yellow or the lemon yellow.
Okay.
If you've got that, that's gonna kind of be what I do as the underpainting.
Okay.
Because typically a cool yellow will have a green undertone, and and a lot of times it might be slightly staining,
Oh. Okay.
and which is good because then that will give you that will also give you a really bright, like almost like an underpainting.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it gives your painting a little bit of a
it'll come through.
luminosity.
That's true. I like that idea.
Yeah, and I really do too. I don't use yellow. I'll wait, don't, because that's something that Sherry can probably appreciate too. But and I'll let her know
She said
that's what I
she's
do.
coming on, and she's not.
Yep, I gave her the link, and it's a restricted, right? So it's only people that have the link that can
Yeah.
watch live. And I said, well, if you're having
What
any
is she
trouble,
doing? Is she having any trouble?
just let me know. Maybe you have to go to my channel, subscribe, and then go back into that link.
Is it Zoom?
No, it's YouTube.
It's YouTube.
YouTube Live. I could have probably tried Zoom, I suppose, but I think
I
you're
don't
only
know.
allowed 40 minutes free.
Well, free you are. Yeah, that's correct. Only 40 minutes. But what you do, you get around that. It just flips off, and then you just ask people to log back on, and you go for another 40 minutes.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
So we were doing that for a long time, and then our reading group, and in our Wednesday night group in Toronto got big.
Mm.
So then now it's paid for.
Yeah, that's true. You could do the 40-minute and then
just
say, okay, let's do a coffee
tell
break.
your
We'll come
people.
back for the next half.
Tell your people if it stops suddenly, that's what's happening. Just take a pee break, grab a coffee, and come back on.
You can't use the same link though.
We did.
Okay.
We did it for months like that.
Okay, because I wasn't able to get back on one that I was in. I don't know what it is. But do you know what they charge? Did you guys
It's
do?
not expensive. I can ask Karen.
Yeah.
She pays for it. She said.
Like even for a 2-hour would be okay, and then they allow you a lot more.
I think you sign up and then you can have as much time as you want.
Oh yeah, a yearly thing or whatever. You know
like
what?
You just stay on as long as you
want. Sherry's here. Hi, Sherry. Okay, so you've been hearing us bantering here. So have you got your paints all watered down and kind of loosey, your pigments? You could see my lips up in the upper right corner, like a little fishy. So I'm glad it worked. Great. We got on a little bit earlier here just because I could. I'm going to put my phone on vibrate.
She responded?
Yeah, she did right there. See? LOL, I'm ready.
Oh, good.
So where did that one go that I was playing with before? Oh, here it is. Okay. So Sherry, as I was saying to Sharon, we got the shishas here today. And if I go shh, that means both of you, okay? It doesn't mean be quiet.
No, and we may not be quiet.
No, we're going to be chattering away. So chatter away in the chat box if you like. Fire away at questions because I've got this situated a little bit so that you can see. I know you can't see the pencil there, but you've got everything transferred okay. You notice I have it just slightly off center here, only because I don't like anything smack dab in the middle. However, when you're doing portraiture or a solo character or whatever, it is okay. It's just how you place your other colors in order for it not to be like a bullseye sort of thing. But I just did him like slightly off center. As you can see, if you look at the center point of the page, it actually runs with his right eye. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm not going to do wet on wet. I'm going to do wet on dry because I have the hydrous, the liquids. So I thought, well, I'll do those because I can get them really water ready already. And plus I've had my other ones here for my earth pigments sitting in the water now for the last 5 minutes. So I'm going to get this nice and soupy. Also, Sherry, I know I don't think that I put a flat. If you've got a flat, that might make it a lot quicker too, just to get that wet onto dry, a lot quicker across the page. So first things first is what we're going to do. And you got your hair dryer ready too. What I'm going to say too is I will try to dry mine as quickly as possible, Sharon. I don't really want us using the hair dryers at the same time in case I blow a fuse. Sure. It's just that's the way things are here. And so I'm just going to make this nice and watery. Do you have a Hooker's Green, Sherry? Or a PG8 pigment? Did she say yes I do, or was that yes I do from the okay? Yeah. Okay, super. Because that is actually going to make our really deep, dark green. And we're going to mix that with, if you've got the Prussian blue like I had on that list, if you have a Prussian blue or a warm blue, we're going to put a little dab of that, or just a little dab of that in the green. However, the best, I love using the Hooker's Green. So I'm not well known for using the convenience greens. And the reason is I've always loved using and making my own greens, right? I've always been a little bit of a green snob. And there's a lot of reasons why. I just want to give you a little tidbit here though too, is a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of artists actually shy away from creating their own greens and buy the convenience greens, because there's about three reasons I think that artists choose to buy the convenience greens, and what gives them a lot of trouble about using greens is you have to be able to see it too, right? Like they have just seeing green on its own, and try to approach it and to mirror that color green that you see, distinguishing one green from another. Like, so the convenience greens helps you. Yeah. It kind of hinders you from being able to see the different greens. Whereas when you're mixing your own, so say your yellow with like a warm yellow with a warm blue, they make those beautiful warm greens. So a lot of people don't understand those qualities, the warms and the cools. So that's why they have a hard time distinguishing between the greens. So when you look at it and you know that you've mixed it with a cool blue, and you go, oh yeah, that's like that is like emerald green. So that's why they put emerald green on a label, right? Right. Or you've got sap green. Well, sap green, you can make a really nice mossy sap green with your ultramarine blues, right, and your warm yellows. So you can get variations of that from a yellow ochre, your raw siennas. Oh my gosh, like your warm yellows. There's a whole myriad of them. So for a lot of people, it just becomes more of a color idea than the actual, you think of a lawn or whatever, and or a leaf, and it should be this color when it's really a kind of a nuance of many, right? So it's really more of a visual sensation that you get when you look at green. Does that make sense? I hope. But even mixing green, right? So that's another thing, whereas a lot of people have a hard time with greens, and it really is. It's really one of the hardest to do the value systems on, is mixing them. Yeah. And and it's about the ratios and the combinations, blue, yellow, green, and blue, this sort of thing. So if you're using a convenience green, is it okay to mix it with a blue, to get the right shade? So it really is a lot of fun. If I always encourage artists, especially watercolor, right? Because watercolor is more jewelry and it's more liquidy. and even if you're using liquid acrylics too, is just to take some time and just concentrate on mixing your own greens. It's probably the one color that a lot of people don't practice. They'll do all their little charts, like this here. We do our charts, and then we do that color charts where we mix. Remember Sherry in our paint class there, we did those color charts and we mixed it. And Sharon, you also took the class, so you know. Just do it with your greens too.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I think that a lot of artists have a hard time is actually using the color, right? Because it's one of the colors that is the most difficult to harmonize with. If you look at your color wheel and you see the colors on the color wheel, you don't see a harmonization of greens. You see a harmonization of mostly the triads or the complements and whatever. So nobody really ever thinks about the harmonization of greens until they have to try and do it. And then they go, oh my God, that's way too hard. So, just getting to know and love the greens. So when I say that you can do a lot of colors with the triad, the red, yellow, blue, I would actually even venture to say, you know what, pick one of the convenience greens and put it in your palette. So if I was to give a recommendation, I would say PG7, which is Viridian. Not so much Hookers, because Hookers is a very dark one. And you can do that on your own with your other colors, is to do that. But Viridian is PG7. It's a pure pigment, believe it or not. It's not mixed with any blue or any yellow to make the green. It's actually a pigment of its own. So is Hookers. It's a PG8, I think. I think it's a PG8. I'll have to look that up. But I know Viridian, right? And it's actually phthalo green. It's a cool green.
Oh, yes.
But see, out on the market now, though, you'll get them going phthalo green blue shade or whatever. Just if you can get Viridian, PG7, pure pigment, and it's actually staining. It's very staining. So that's another reason why a lot of people are afraid to use it. However, it makes the most beautiful, vibrant greens. And you mix a warm yellow in with that, and you can make this beautiful. Anyway, so I'm going on. Okay, so are we ready to get going? So what I want to do is I want to start this. What we're going to do is we're going to cover the page, wet on dry, with the cool yellow. Okay, so take your flat, and then we're going to dip into that nice puddle that you made, that watercolor puddle of the cool yellow. Even if you don't have a puddle of it, don't worry. You can mix it around on the thing. And then go from left to right is what I've picked the light source as, the left side of the page to the right. So this is really bright. You can't even see me painting, right? So we're going to go right across. I wonder if I get a little closer. You'll be able to see that. See how I'm just kind of doing that on an angle? Go in with some more water if you think it's a little bit dark, because you don't really want it to be overpowering, right? So I'm sort of going around the rabbit a little bit, but I went over his face.
So
because
cover right over his face and everything.
Yeah, right over his face.
Yeah.
It's because we're looking at this as an underpainting, and I like to use yellow. I was saying to Sharon before, I don't know if you were on at that time, but I do like to use yellow in my watercolors as an underpainting, and I typically use the cool because it is staining. And the reason for that is because it's staining, it stays in the grain of the paper, and it gives your picture a luminosity. Now I'm wondering if there's a way that I can get this to be seen a little better. Because, actually, you can see it there, but you can't really see the colors, eh? What is it going on here? Yeah. Good, Sherry, I'm glad. But yeah, it is a good tip. And so if you want to I love it. Like, I don't know if I picked it up somewhere in one of my, from one of my, mentors from days past, but it's something that I've always, actually, no, you know where I got that from? I got it from an acrylic painter, and I started applying it to my watercolor. Yeah. Because a lot of acrylic painters and oil painters, they do underpainting. Yeah. And one of I don't know what acrylic painter it is that I absolutely love. He does orange. He doesn't do the traditional red ochre or any of those. He does orange. And I went, oh my gosh, I love that idea.
Yes.
So I started to apply it. So you don't need to make it saturated, okay? You just want enough to color. And if you've got streaks where you've got some that are paler than other, don't worry about it. Okay, because this is a very organic. Remember, we're doing a rabbit in the field that's been startled. He's in his natural environment, right? So don't worry about streakies, okay? Now, what I want you to do is with the same flat brush, is go into your warm yellow, take a little off, and just go right over top. Don't go back over the area here, though. Keep this area here. Keep that left area where the sun is coming from. Mm-hmm. Keep that the cool yellow, okay? And just come over the rabbit here and down. See here?
Yeah.
And just come down the page like this with your warm yellow. And you don't need to saturate it, just a little. And then while this is still wet and you got this kind of wet here, now go in with a light green. If you haven't got your light green pre-mixed, just pick up some of your warm blue that you have and your warm yellow. And then make up a nice little warm light, just very light though. Make it very watery, because what we're going to do is we're going to be glazing and we're going to build. So what I like to do, if you remember where's my, the one that's already done? Where did I put them? Mm-hmm. I have them handy. See, I always try to put everything right in front of me so I can handle it, and just kind of go back and forth. But what the hell? What the hell?
You can't say that on YouTube. YouTube shit.
Oh my gosh. Where the heck did it go? That is just too funny. Oh, maybe I put it underneath the keyboard. I put it here to grab easily, and then it... Oh, I didn't. Oh, for crying out loud. If you have access... Oh, there, look at where I put... Look where I put it.
Of course.
Oh, my God. It's like sitting right here. So, you remember this here. This is the one I used as an example. It's not actually... Look at it. It's not even showing how luminous.
Yeah.
See this here area here? It's showing it as white. That's actually that bright white, that bright yellow. Yeah. So this camera or the webcam, yeah, even though it's a high resolution, it's actually adding more light than we need. And look at how light all of this is when it's actually a little bit darker. Yeah. So, but anyway, just to illustrate, so we've gone over all of this with the cool yellow. Then we've gone over this part with the warm, right? Go over here. Now I want you to go all the way around the rabbit. You can even come up the side here like this and around here, right? With your light green, okay? And then we're going to dry it. We want this dry. Actually, before we dry it, I want you to do something else. It's an optional. So there's my light sappy green, which I made with French ultramarine blue. And I'm actually got my, you can use your round, but I'm doing this. See how I'm doing this like this? I'm making kind of like unconscious leaf or grasses. Yeah. And just let it kind of soak in a little bit with that wet yellow that's in there. And don't worry if it pools, just kind of, and you can bring your brush around like this. Just be very loosey goosey, because the beautiful part about this and the fun thing that we're doing is we're building, we're layering, and very much like the wet watercolor that we did with the flowers, with some of this wet on wet, you're going to create shapes. So if you kind of gone over top of your rabbit and that's still that's a bit dark, which I think it is, I'm actually going to, if you got a tissue you can, but I'm going to sponge, and I'm just going to see how that just lifted right out. It did leave a little bit of green behind, but that's okay. I was a little brush happy, and I didn't want to cover up. Oh, sorry. I didn't want to cover up the whole part of the rabbit. Okay, so I want that bottom part of the rabbit to be seen, and that green was a little bit too much there. So is that good? You good, Sherry? Makes sense? Like mud, clear as mud?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So now I would say you can actually, if you want, you can take if you've got some Van Dyke brown or some brown or red brown or anything, you can actually kind of just wispy through a little bit of it just to get a, but we're going to do that later anyway. So I just wanted to show you that's here what I did here, right? Just
Oh, yeah.
Right?
See. Yes,
You
I
see
probably
that?
put a little too much green on here.
And you can dab it up,
Yes, I can. Maybe
right?
I will.
If you, would you like a sponge here?
No, I've got right here.
Okay, good. Yep. So dab it up, and now I'm going to blow dry. I want you guys to blow dry.
Go ahead.
Now, what you could do though, a little thing that you can do, is take your round, your small long round, and build up with a lot of water on this, and do this. I want you to just tap, just do some drippies,
Okay.
splatters with the green, because we are in spring, right? So
with the green color.
We're going to do this with several of the colors as we layer as we go. Okay. Okay, Sherry, I'm going to dry this now. Keep it on a low so it doesn't shift too much. Because sometimes if you got a lot of watercolor on your page too, and you go with a high, it'll bloom. It'll make blooms. And it's okay if the page buckles, because once you put the hairdryer to it, it tightens it right back up again. And so now we're going to be a little bit tighter, loosey tighter. It's kind of a combination. We're going to make some different greens now, and we're going to start layering. And we're going to keep that to a little bit of the outside of the rabbit. And use the back of your hand to test the dryness of your paper, because we have oils in our fingers that sometimes interferes. Okay, so that's almost dry. Now, the other thing I want to share is it doesn't have to be completely dry. You can have it a little bit moist, and the reason for that is that when you start adding that next layer on, it will actually give you softer edges instead of harder. And then you don't have to go in and do the smudging to soften out the edges. We'll do some of the dry brushing later, which gives it that kind of cool surface texture, but we really don't want any hard lines. So it's okay to have it semi-damp. And I'll wait for a few minutes. And Sherry, you can give me the thumbs up when you're done with the hair dryer. So I'm just going to put this here just to show.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, so in the background here, it's a little bit cooler, right? Which it should be, right? Further in the distance is a little bit cooler. Everything in the front is going to be of warm tones, right? Because it's all in the foreground. You know what? Another little thing I wanted to share with you about greens. It's only because, I like a challenge. Most people that know me know that I like a challenge. And green has always been like one of those challenge things and especially for watercolors. Not so much, I don't know, oil paints and acrylics. Because they're opaque, it's a different approach to it. About green, 3 things are necessary to paint greens, right? So you could have a convenient green, right? A premixed convenience green.
Yeah.
Or you could have your own yellow plus blue mixture in a hue from green to yellow. I wrote this down. That's why I'm doing this. So a yellow or a blue paint to shift the hue of the green, right? Because anything more than anything you add to a pure pigment becomes a hue, Hue. And then also a warming or a neutralizing paint, which can vary. It can be any color from orange to violet. So they're called the neutralizing ones. Why? Because they're considered the complement.
Yeah.
And when you add a complement, you brown it up or you neutralize it. So anyway, those are the things that when you're playing. But even with the color wheel, when we look at this color wheel, this I'm just trying to look here. This green is a viridian green. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's a pure pigment. And this color here can only be made this yellow green by using the viridian with the, yeah. So, anywho, but yeah. But when you look at a chroma or whatever, like even look at these, they're all variations of those colors there. That's it. Not that pure green. They're making it with everything else but. Okay. Anyway, it's always an interesting green. I could talk about green. It's one of my favorite colors too. So are you all set to go? The link is frozen. Oh, it shows me rolling. Okay, wonderful. So it might be at your end because I'm showing a full feed and I've got 5 bars of internet. So hopefully, and so just let me know if it happens again, and then I'll hold. And then that way you won't miss out on anything. Yeah, Sharon has she's here with me, so she gets it full Monty. She's the one who shared that rabbit meme or the little vid that I shared with you earlier. Oh my God, I love that meme so much. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work with the warmer greens again, right? So if you've got a warm blue, which is ultramarine, or Prussian has got a little bit more. Ultramarine is my absolute favorite blue. It's a wonderful, wonderful blue. That's your warm blue. It almost looks red. It's a red blue. See, that's why for some reason people mistake ultramarine as a cool blue. For some reason, but anything with red, remember all your cools are anything with blues, greens, indigo, or violet, and all your warms have either red, orange, or yellow. That's a good little thing to make for yourself. If you want to warm anything up, you just add a little red, a little orange, or a little yellow. Actually, yellow is the actual star of the show. For yellow is the most important pigment on our palette. Did you know that? Yeah. Okay, so ready, Sherry? So what we're going to do is you're going to take some of that ultramarine and we're going to do that warm yellow. We're working with warms now. And you're going to darken that up now, right? So we're going to go one more. Look at how dark and rich that is. So that's a deeper moss green. So I'm just going to go over top, but just flicking, okay? We're just flicking. And you can run alongside of the rabbit because you really don't want the green over the rabbit here. Just run alongside it and bring it up, right? And be sporadic here because we're going to be adding some other colors, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in my water and then just dilute what I've already got on here and spread that up. We're going to play with all this up here a little while later. Right down, anything down here is going to be the beautiful warm greens and warm, the earth colors and everything else, right? So, and around at his bottom here, we can just do this. Yeah, just follow his back line. See this? Here where I've got it here? All right. And if you get a little puddle at the bottom, just take your cloth and just be really random. You can use your thick or your thin just to get various little stroke shapes. See how I've built up over top? And you don't have to cover over what you've painted before. You can leave some of that open so it shows some depth in your picture as well. So I'm going to kind of go up and we can do this sort of thing where you flatten and then you kind of do, you can practice some of your leaf shapes here. But this is all going to get blended. See, I'm going to take this now. See how I got these big sort of leaf shapes? Well, I'm going to dab off a little bit of the water, but now I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to bring that down, pull that down. See that? So I've just pulled that down. How you doing, Sherry? Does it feel good? And then don't forget to get some of those skinny ones. So go into your thinner round brush now. Take off the excess water. Go into your little mix, and just see where I've got some real skinny little. Look, see how I got some skinny little? Because he's sitting on it, right? So that's going to just show the little, because he's flattened the bigger ones out, and he's sitting on the little ones. And I got a hair in there. Do you know, if you just go in with a dry brush, sometimes it gets the hair off. Otherwise, just wait till it's dry. Pick it off.
The rabbit is a hare.
Yes, the rabbit is a hare. Funny. Funny, funny. Okay, so, and now what I'm going to do here too is I'm really going to water out this green. The green that I mixed, a little bit darker, I'm really going to water that out. And I'm going to come up to about here, right? Right around in here. Right around on this side of the rabbit now. And just color that in. It's almost like you're going to color with your brush. Don't color the rabbit in. And if you do, don't worry about it. You'll paint over it anyway. All right, so here we go. Oh, for some reason I got a mark on there, but that's okay because we'll paint over it. I don't know if you can see this okay. I don't know why my camera is showing this so bright. There, it's a little better. It's focusing in. I think what it's doing is it keeps trying to focus every time I move.
Yeah.
So, all right. And I went really super thin in this. I'm keeping at least, almost, just see here, almost like a 50-cent piece alone. I'm leaving that alone. And then I still want to kind of like drag so that, when you look through you're in a field and you look through some trees and whatever, and the rays kind of come down. That's sort of what I was visualizing with this. You can see how it's like the lighter tones are on that angle. All right. So now what we're going to do again is you can come in with your hunter green or your darkest green, but what I want you to do with that is take a little dab of your umber, okay, your raw umber, and just darken that up. Really make that nice and rich, just a really rich, yummy color. So if you've got that, this is a natural hair by that silver. These are actually my silk brushes, my silk paint brushes. Otherwise, I use Princeton.
This is Princeton.
Oh, if you got Princeton Elite, those are synthetics, my favorite.
Yeah,
those are really good. But today I actually, these flats.
Big, so maybe I'm big.
If you find that you've got a little bit, if you enjoy, especially with synthetics, because they got a hard spring back, whereas the naturals don't. But I use this, the Sapphire Robert Simmons, which is I love the Robert Simmons. This is Sapphire, so this is a 3/4 inch.
I've used this so long that there's nothing left.
Nothing left on the handle.
On the handle.
Well, so it probably is a synthetic as well, but the synthetics that are designed for watercolorists, a lot of times they're half and half, Sharon, so that you can hold the water.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, but I have
this is a Princeton too, so this is.
Oh, that's a nice one. You've got a really, that's going to have, it's a long handle, so it'll have some good spring back on that. You might want to use that at the end for dry brushing. Yeah, it's a nice one.
I just fell in love with
you just bought Da Vinci is great.
Yeah.
Now, depending on where you located your rabbit on the page, whether you get, if you've got his bum part close to the bottom is where you're going to. And that's okay that it's blending in with that previous color, right? That previous color is going to still be a little damp. See? It's really showing up on here, eh? And it almost looks cool. Do you know why?
If you added the ultramarine.
No, ultramarine is warm. I warmed it up using umber. But the convenience green I use is a green on, like, okay. So see, it's almost like an oxymoron because they say anything with green in it is a cool.
Not necessarily.
Right? That's right.
Not necessarily.
We're warming it by using the umber. Like even Hooker's green. Hooker's green is a cool. So that's why this looks cool. Because it's Hooker's. And see how I'm just pulling it? I'm pulling up the page like this. And you don't have to be straight. Like do them random because if there's a little bit of a breeze, you can imagine a little breeze if you want. And it's all wet, so it is going to sort of blend. However, leave some spaces. You see how I've got some spaces in between the previous brush strokes? Oh, I'll get my mouse out of there. And then that way you're gonna have these beautiful little peekaboo, foliage. And so when we do the pen at the end, you can pick and choose which ones you want to accentuate. So now what I'm going to do though too is well, you know what I'm going to do? I want to do the earthy tones now. Like I want to get into the rabbit, right? So while this outer part is wet still, we're going to work on the interior that gives us a little bit more time. So take your smaller brush, and what I want you to do is, if you've got your raw sienna already, and you're ready to go. Unfortunately, mine dried up while I was sitting here. I guess I didn't put enough water on it. If you have yellow ochre, that's fine. But if you have raw sienna, that's fine too. They're the lighter of well, actually, yellow ochre is a pure pigment of its own too. It's PY 154, and raw sienna is its own. Burnt sienna is raw sienna cooked. And burnt sienna is one of my favorites. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint the entire rabbit. Okay. But try to keep him watered down too.
Watered down.
Yeah, like thin. If you find that it's a little dark, don't worry about it because remember, watercolor dries lighter. Yeah. Okay. And if it still is a little too dark for you even after, just add clean your brush though, right? Because if you ever see some of the rabbits, especially the jackrabbits, they have yellow eyes. Yeah, it's yellow with their pupils typically are so dilated, right? Because they're always on high alert.
What about the nose?
The nose, just cover it right over. We're going to blend on top of that. So the nose is going to be a nice little button color at the end. See? When you take a look here.
Oh, yeah.
So the thing is that's just for this rabbit. Okay, this is the rabbit what I chose for him. Rabbits have different tonal values, very much like, yeah, right? Like any other. They have kind of a base color to them, but they all have their own little significant color. So once you've got that done, drag that all the way down to the bottom. And that's okay as long as it's at the bottom. Now what I want you to do, if you've got the Venetian red, or if you've got a very warm red, water that down as thin as you can. Actually, you know what I'm going to do for you? Because your reds look a little too red.
I have, this one is, the cadmium is a warm.
Okay, yeah. If you can put the cadmium a little drop aside on its own.
Yeah. And
then warm that up a bit more with yellow.
Sure.
Okay, so water that down. Right? Okay. I love Pigment 101. So believe it or not, burnt sienna is Pigment 101.
Oh, okay.
But if you look at English red, red oxide, burnt sienna, they're all Pigment 101. And yet they're different.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure of how that process is, but I think it's how they manufacture that pigment, which gives the different variations. And it might be in the way you seed it.
No, I mixed the cadmium.
Yeah, just you want that
Yellow,
really, yeah. Now just a touch of green. We want it to be a red brown, but very,
Yes. Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, so if you
I
see
do.
this, yeah, like almost like a brick color. So I'm just going to go in and make it really nice and watery. Even if you have, I'll put it up so you can see. I'm going to just kind of do a couple of strokes here, cross there, touch, touch inside here. Hang on.
Yeah.
So just think about, you know, like he's got these little undertones here. You can dab anywhere you want with that. Now, if you take a little bit of that that red or that Venetian red or brick red, clean off your brush and take a little bit of a watered down portion of that. Take the excess off, and let's do some flicking all over his body. Even that the ready color we just did. All right, and then see how I made splatters. Right, it's magical. Make you putting splatters on your nature paintings and anything that's like an outdoor, like flowers or anything outdoor landscape. I love doing the flick. I love doing these little flicks. It's almost like it's pollen floating in the air, right? It's very magical. Yes. I don't know which would be better here. I think that's pretty good there, Sherry. Almost. We're getting there. So now if your surface is